Broadcasting live from the Rock and Roll RV, making this the only show you can hear and smell.
You smell something?
The Geoff and Whisp Show, mornings on 108.9 The Hog. I can never tell when this is going to end.
I was going to say, are we at the beginning of the song? You know that's the beginning versus the end when they start bop-bopping. The bop-bop is at the end. At the beginning is when they are just, you can't understand a goddamn word that they're saying.
Oh.
It says, doubles is up, zeebles is up, doubles up, doubles up.
Oh, whoa, Ann Wilson.
Oh, my God.
When did you come in?
Oh, my God.
No,
are you going to do your Led Zeppelin covers like from the single soundtrack?
I would love to hear your Battle of Evermore, please.
The only version that I ever listened to. Not to get on an early Jeff the Angry Man Garlock rant. This isn't a rant, but if you got to throw it up, I'll do it.
Early one. Go ahead. Let's see if I have... Scotty, where is the rant thing? We're in our new studio, so I really don't know where anything is
Buttons
anymore.
are all akimbo.
Buttons are... just do it, and I'll find it.
I mean, at this point, the rant was just, I like the version that band that was made up of the members of Heart when they covered Led Zeppelin on the single soundtrack when they did it better than Led Zeppelin. And that was it, really.
Oh, man, I hate that we didn't have the bed.
It was needed, really, because it became less of a rant and more of just the ramblings of a crazy person wandering down the street.
Fact. It was just a fact. That should have been a good rock fact, honestly.
It should have been a good. We don't have that sounder either because there's new goddamn studio.
Oh, God. I'm trying to figure out everything. Do we have any beds or anything, Scotty? Hit this one? Okay. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. 6:34. It's right at the start of the morning.
It's the start of the morning, and let's say Wisp came in bleary-eyed and dog-eared.
I mean,
truly
no
bleary-eyed,
idea.
like his eyes weren't open, and I was like, did you just keep drinking Lakini's juice all night long until we recorded? And I'm going to say, yeah. I don't even think I was talking to you for the first 15 minutes of the show.
You weren't.
I felt like I was just talking to Ed Kawakalakashik from Live.
And God, he's going to be here tomorrow.
Oh, my God.
He's got a new wine he wants to talk about, and I always love because he comes in here. New wine. He comes in and he sits next to me here, and I just reach over and I pull on his little rat tail.
If he doesn't have it in the front, he's got it in the back. It just goes back and forth. It's either a long, weird goatee or it's a weird rat tail, like in the I Alone video.
And he's on tour with Stone Temple Pilots. They're doing they're celebrating Purple. 30 years of Purple, and 30 years of throwing copper. Can you believe it, Jeff?
I've been throwing purple all this time.
Oh, you...
I throw purple every night, keg stands.
All right.
Okay.
What does that even mean, keg stand? Let's break down the joke, keg stand.
I don't know.
Okay.
Sex.
Thank you. Sex.
Wow, I mean, that's what happens. If you push keg stand, he'll go a little too far, and then he freaks out. His brain just freaks out.
His brain freaks out. I freaks out.
Freaks out.
But I will tell you, yes, I had a late night last night with my good best friend in the entire world, Nick Nolte.
Oh, my God.
And we were down there at Flappers 7. Now, this is the Flappers Cantina. Now, this is the one where they serve alcohol. And you go in. It's the same Flappers wings you can get at any other location of Flappers, but this one you can get rip-roaring drunk while eating any chicken wing that you want to eat. And
not gonna lie, I can't believe this is the first time they realize alcohol and chicken wings go well together.
And they did this thing. I don't know if any other place has done this, Jeff, but they have all of the screens showing sports.
Oh my goodness, really?
Sports.
So let me get this straight. I'm just going to try to break this down for a second. That's what we do on morning radio. We break things down.
Yep. I don't know why I just did the mouth drums for Hot for Teacher, but I did.
So you're telling me this is a bar that plays sports?
Yes.
I gotta say, a sports bar, I don't feel tardy. I am just picking up what you just threw down, but because it always works.
I like it. Oh my God, 6:35. How are you doing, Valverde? You are listening to the Geoff and Whisp Show. Good morning to you. Now, we do have a great guest coming in. We're going to bring him in just a second, but I got to ask you real quickly, real quick, like.
Just going to take a second to clear this up. Are you asking real quick, like to Valverde or to me, Jeff the Angry Man Garlock? Or me, Cake Stand?
No, I'm asking you, Jeff, real quick.
Oh, this is to me. Okay, just want to make sure we're having, because I zone out. When you ask about Valverde and ask how they're doing, I do not care. I do not give a flying rat's ass.
F you, Valverde, you bunch of slobs.
My finger goes right up in the air.
Right up. Just
right up in the air. And if you can't tell because this is terrestrial radio, it's the middle finger.
It is he's not doing like, he could be like, I'm giving you the middle finger, but he's doing like a thumbs up. But you don't know because you're slob hearing.
That's what they do in other countries sometimes.
Right.
This is the middle finger. This is the middle finger. And of course, you can't see all this because it's terrestrial radio. But you can fill in the gaps.
Trust me, ladies and gentlemen, slobs of Valverde, he is actually giving you the middle finger. So I turned on the TV when I got home, just hammered last night.
Oh my God.
And of course, I turned it right into the brand new game show. Oh my God, Channel 8's Take the Money and Run.
Oh,
now,
boy.
I don't know if everybody watched this. This is Steve Miller's new Running Man style game show. Now, if you're a contestant in this, Jeff, you have a chance to grab a suitcase filled with an ungodly amount of money and run. And if you can make it to the finish line without being hunted down by Miller's silver bullet bruisers, you get to keep the money.
Are they bad?
And nobody kept the money. They were all slaughtered.
Just murdered by the silver bullet commandos.
Smothered, covered, and
chopped, diced, and steeled.
Diced. And it was so good to see. And then at the end, Steve Miller and the Bruisers, they play Take the Money and Run.
Oh,
and you're like, oh, God. But it's one of those game shows you watch, Jeff, and you're like, could I do this?
And we're not talking Urkel. Urkel's not watching it going, did I do that?
No. Did I? It's not,
even Urkel is saying, can I do this?
Could I do this? Like, because you look at the way they're running down the path, and it's like, it's not that hard.
It doesn't seem that hard. Anytime I watch a sport, anytime I watch a game show, anytime I watch anything, if I'm down at Flapper's Cantina and I'm watching something sporty at the sports bar,
oh, God.
I always say, I can do that and better. I'm having a field day with the Olympics. When the Olympics were happening, it was just like nonstop the entire time. I was just like, I can do that. I can do that. I can do that better. I can do that. I can do that. I can do that.
So instead of hearing like a start pistol or something, you just hear this at the start. And you grab that bag and you start running. And the moment he goes, woo, that's when the Bruisers are on their way.
You've got that little moment. You got that little window to make some space. And then finally, their Bruisers are coming for you.
And they are monsters. These guys are roided and juiced up.
And they all sing opera like Dynamo in the original 100%. Running Man. And I call the original Running Man the movie version, not the book. Not the goddamn Richard Bachman book. All right, please. If it doesn't have King's name shoved on there so that we go to see it, then I ain't watching it.
Hey, Jeff, I got a question for you.
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite Outfield cover band?
Oh, my God. So many of them.
Josie's on a vacation.
Okay, who?
No, that's my favorite one. There's so many of them.
So many of them.
Yeah. They're a fantastic band. There's so many members. It's like Polyphonic Spree up there, but just doing covers of the band The Outfield.
I like Josie's Anna. They played down at the Valverde Fair quite a bit.
They do a cover of Josie and the Pussycats mixed in there, but then Josie's Anna. It doesn't make any goddamn sense beside the Josie part, and you're like, that's not even what we're talking about here.
But I do have to say, if there is, I just got to listen to this. This is nice.
It is nice.
This makes me think that I'm in my Camaro 1983 down by Verde Lake.
Oh my God. And the lake stinks because we all remember what happened in 1983 at Verde Lake.
Stinks. I've got a good girl there, and she's like, hey, you want to make out? And I'm like, I cannot stop smelling this lake.
I will try to heave, and it will turn into a real heave into your mouth.
So this is playing on my radio, and we're both just like, and then we drove back.
Good memories.
Oh, God. Good memories. And if you want good memories, you're going to be going out to the Valverde Fairgrounds and seeing probably one of the best outfield cover bands in Valverde today.
Probably.
Of course, I'm talking about Long Flyball, Joey Weatherman, welcome.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Oh my God, it's so good to see you. It's
good
so
to see
good
you
to see you.
guys.
Do you remember 83 in the lake stink?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. But stays with me.
It does.
It does.
It's one of those smells that I think I've forgotten until I smell it again. You know, I'll be walking through the forest after a rainstorm, just gathering my thoughts, and a particular alchemy of mold and carcass will drift into my nostrils, and I'll be like, this is some lake stink for us today. And I get a good old huff of it.
Umma.
Oh, I gotta say, my question for you that I wrote down here on this pad.
Before you
I
even
in.
talk, I'd like you to just shut up politely for a moment, because I gotta say thank you for giving a shout out to so many of them. An extraordinarily good outfield cover band.
Thank you.
Full respect. I mean, technically they're rivals.
Yes.
Technically they're rivals, and yes, they have beaten us for some gigs.
Oh,
that's true.
But they're good guys, and I appreciate a band that has 45 members. And they make it work.
You gotta appreciate it. Make it work. You don't think that many members. You think it would be overkill for
You think it would be bad.
You think it would not work at all. You think it would actually drown each other out as they're playing. But
what's extraordinary is they each take a syllable of the song. There's only one drummer and a guitar player, no other musicians, and everyone else is just in charge of a syllable of whatever song they're doing.
Oh man, it's almost like a cappella.
Oh, I love
like
acapella.
like the Whiffin' Poofs from Yale.
That.
One of my favorite. And that if you know me, I love classic rock, but right below that, I love college acapella groups.
That's right.
And because it's just like, oh, you've taken a song I love and you've added more melodies to it. That's fantastic.
If you know Jeff the Angry Man Garlock, you know he loves classic rock. And you know he loves college a cappella groups. Oh my God. And your love done a cappella now. Play it at my funeral. Play it at my funeral, any a cappella version, as they are dumping me down into the ground. I just want to hear I don't want to lose your love tonight. And then I'm dumped out, and then you hear me go, I'm not dead yet. And then they close the tomb. Tomb Turlington.
I got two things to say.
Yes, please.
One, I love you guys. I love you guys. It's
Joey,
so good
we
to
love
see
you
again.
Back at you.
Two, remind me your names.
Oh, hi. I'm Whisp Turlington.
Jeff the Angry Man Garlock.
Right, yes. Love you guys.
Yes, you're a rock and roller. Well, you don't have time to be remembering these
I knew
things.
the names. I just didn't know which was which, because I think of you guys as a unit, like Siamese twins, or a Pizza Hut and Taco Bell.
Cake stand is much like our KFC
right.
there. I've got biscuits, cake stands. Yeah, I know.
Joey Weatherman, that's an interesting name too. Have you ever done the weather?
No, but it's a holdover from a previous life. But before I got into this gig, I was hoping to be a weatherman, and I went all in and changed my name.
You're like, I know this is going to happen.
Yes, and I was like, I'm all in, because a lot of times the weathermen have these improbably appropriate weather names. It'll be like Storm Hail Cube or whatever.
Oh, God rest his soul.
Right. I love Storm Hail Cube's work.
On Channel 8. Oh my God.
Full respect to Storm Hail Cube.
Yep.
But that is the level of competition you got when you go into the weatherman biz. You got to have the name. You can't just come in there with an understanding of the Doppler system. No.
And
you can't just come in there.
That doesn't matter. It ain't a meritocracy.
No. You got to be ready to play with the big boys. And so I went down to the DMV and I changed my name to Joey Weatherman. And then 2 days later, I got this gig and I was like, I'm not changing it again. I'm going to stay with it.
You didn't change it to Outfield Man.
I was like, I can't. I'm too embarrassed.
A lot of paperwork.
I'm too embarrassed to go right back to the DMV.
You're also such a big fan of that Nicolas Cage movie, The Weatherman. So you just like, I gotta keep showing respect.
Is that the one where he goes back in time and realizes he loves his family?
That's the Family Man.
Does he go back in time and remember? So in The Weatherman, does Nicolas Cage?
I think it's the one where it's like Fast and Furious. That's
gone
in 60 seconds.
Okay. I think it's the one where he's burned. There's a wicker version of him.
That's the Family Man still.
Neil LaBute's The Weatherman is a wonderful movie. I think it was better than the original.
100%.
Which, of course, starred Christopher Lee. Fantastic.
Christopher Lee. Fantastic. He's coming up in the third. He's not, Scotty.
Oh, okay.
He's not coming. You guys booked him, and he's probably busy.
I hope he's busy. I hope there isn't another reason, Scotty, that you would tell us that Christopher Lee's not coming in the third hour.
Were you drinking Lakini's juice with him last night?
I got to tell you, if there's one thing that Nick Nolte loves to drink, and they had it on tap, they had Lakini's juice right there on tap at Flapper's Cantina, and I don't even have to scream when they know to bring you more wine. They automatically know. Oh, God. Flapper's Cantina, you are...
What a place.
What a place.
Have you been booked there yet?
You guys played Long Flyball.
I got a little beef with the owner. You know what? It's on me.
Okay.
It's on me. I got into it. Things got personal. And you know,
the best place to talk personal stuff is on terrestrial morning radio.
We're not just the
nobody's
number one morning show.
Well, they were going to book us. They were going to book Long Flyball to play down at Flappers. We were getting, we were handshake deal. Be about this much, and the house will recoup this, and you got to sell this money. Okay, pretty standard stuff. And then. Well, and if the guy wants to negotiate money, great. That's his place. He's a businessman. But he started giving me notes on the act.
Hold on a second. Was his last name businessman?
No, but it should have been the way he was. You know what it should have been was backseat driver.
Whoa.
Oh, wow. Backseat driver.
Because he gave me notes on the act. And I'm like, hey, hire me or don't hire me, but don't tell me how to do it. Just take us on and let us do our job or leave us alone. And he just started giving us notes. He was like, you should do more than one song. And I was like,
come on.
Why? Yeah. We do the same song 12 times in a row, and then we move on. And I haven't heard any complaints yet.
No. I mean, you turned off all the comments on the social media.
Well, that's just for my own mental health, because you get guys who...
Exactly. You got to look out for yourself in these days.
Politics, or...
Oh, my God.
Whatever issue du jour they're upset about. If they just wanted to have a discussion of the outfield, I'm all for it.
Yes.
But you turn those comments on, and immediately people are bringing their own agenda. We had them on for a while, and I remember one of the comments was, I got bored during your set. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be about climate change. I'm turning it off.
Now we're getting political.
Another one was,
my God,
the outfield have a couple of good songs. And I'm like, hey, I'm not asking who you vote for. Don't ask who I vote for. So I turned those comments off.
Thank you.
We got one song in it.
Keep your politics out of the outfield.
Oh, my God.
And that's the first time.
That's my God.
That's free for you guys.
Thank
you.
Then
we pick a lady in the audience. We say, what's your name?
I love the pick a lady part of your show.
I'm Martha. And I'm like, Martha's on a vacation.
I was at one of your shows, and I'm like,
that's all you need.
Hey, one for the fellas. What's your name? And some guy be like, I'm Al. I'm like, Al's on a vacation.
Good thing you got the comments off for that, because that's going to get political right there.
That one's going to get political. LGBT-friendly reading of the lyrics or a gender swap. And I'm like, hey, if Bruce Springsteen can bring up a guy and dance into the dark, then Long Flyball needs to broaden its horizons and be more inclusive. And that's honestly, that's a great change to our act.
It is 2024.
11 or 12 of those. Sometimes we come out for an encore.
2024, it can't always be Courtney Cox. That's what I say.
It can't always be Courtney Cox. She's busy.
Can't always be Courtney Cox, but it can always be your love.
It always be. Because what else do you want?
It always works.
I went to an ABBA cover band performance once, and it was fine. Not even fine. It was very good. But the song they closed with was Dancing Queen. Okay. And we were waiting the whole night to hear them do Dancing Queen.
And you were seeing Dancing Queen, so the whole time you're like,
Dancing
I know
Queen's
what you're
gonna play Dancing Queen.
It's the name of the cover band was Dancing Queen. They're doing ABBA songs. They do all very good renditions of ABBA songs, but the whole audience is waiting for Dancing Queen. They end with Dancing Queen. Everybody goes nuts, and they go, "We got one more for you." And then they do Fernando, and I'm like, "Oh, that was my Dancing Queen again." And that's when I turned to the other guys in the band, because we all saw this as a band. I was like, "We're only doing Your Love from now on."
Oh, because before that, you were doing other outfield songs.
We refused to do Your Love.
Really? So
oh, my God.
You were playing like
deep cuts.
You were playing like I Don't Need Her in 61 seconds.
We would do I Don't Need Her 61 seconds. We did stuff that they didn't even release.
Nervous Alibi.
Love Nervous Alibi.
Oh, it's so good.
We crushed Nervous Alibi. we would get demos that they hadn't even released. We got one that said, "I'm voting for Dukakis." That was a song they didn't even release.
And let's not get political.
This is not a politics radio. People listen to the Geoff and Whisp Show to get away from politics. But I do have to ask the question. It is 2024.
Okay.
If Josie were around in 2024,
all right,
who do you think she's voting for in the upcoming election?
That's a great question.
I think they'd hand her a ballot and they'd be like, "Josie, who you voting for?" I think Josie would rear her head back and go, "Josie's on a vacation far away. Come around to talk it over." And she would talk about herself in the third person.
Right.
And then she probably wouldn't
and then
vote.
She wouldn't vote.
That was a great question. That was a great question. You know, she forgot to vote. She gets to the voting station, stands in line, and then she just sings when she gets up there. Here's another question that's just popped in my dome in the morning. Would Tim Walz have an Outfield record, and would we all be freaking out about it?
Would he have just record his own Outfield record or a favorite?
Oh, that's an even better question. I was just wondering if he owned the Outfield, but can we get Tim Walz to record his own version of the Outfield? Because if I had my druthers, he would record all of my favorite bands. Just every Replacements and Husker Du record would be redone
Get
by
him
Tim
doing Tomorrow
Walz.
the Greengrass by the Jayhawks, and my God, that's all I need to hear.
I bet you Tim owns an Outfield album,
100%.
and I bet you it's not just Play Deep, which is the first album they had, which has Your Love on it. I bet she's got a couple other ones, which I could name.
Now this is leading me to another question. I'm just getting so many questions popping in my brain.
To commercials in a second.
These are important questions. What is their deal with baseball?
Oh,
why do they like baseball so damn much in the outfield?
Oh, there
understand.
you go.
There you go.
They exoticize America. They're fascinated, the same way like we're fascinated with the monarchy, and the Beatles.
Yep,
they're fascinated with America.
Just how Phil Collins is obsessed with the Alamo. For some
Last
crazy
time I
reason.
talked to Phil, he was like, "Hey, mate, we gotta go down to the Alamo again." I'm like, "Phil, I went with you 3 times. I don't need to see it again." I'm like, if you ask me to go again, I'm gonna bring Ozzy with us, and he's gonna piss all over it. That's what he did. That's what he does.
I'm sorry, guys. I just got a text from Flappers.
Oh my God.
He's saying it's okay if we play there.
All right.
Oh my!
It is happening.
That is the
around and tuck it over.
Going down to play at Flappers. My God.
Gonna go play down at Flappers.
Oh, Joey.
So many songs that I wanna play.
Just one song at Flappers. Oh my God, Joey, sit tight. We hang out with us for the next break because we do have to go.
I'm not going anywhere. I'll be here all day.
Hell yeah, Joey. Hell yeah.
I'm moving in with you guys.
Oh my God, we better let Big Truck know.
We better let him know. But right now, speaking of vehicles, we do have to send the signal over to traffic.
108.9 The Hawk Traffic with Art Spart.
Wow! Would you know my name if I saw you in fishbowl heaven? Well, people of Valverde, you are asking me if there is traffic today, and all I can say is I'm too sad to look. You see, I lost my beloved goldfish this morning. That's right, my goldfish named Mick's Butt died in my arms as I held his bowl. And it wasn't my first goldfish, not by a long shot. In fact, Mick's Butt was officially my 100th goldfish to die. And here's the trail of death began. Now, as you know, I've been working for the old dunking booth at the Valverde State Fair. And that's right, we call it Art for Art. And if you haven't dunked me yet, I am sitting in the booth. You dunk old art, and then you get some sort of art for a prize. And by art, of course, we mean the Carnival Classic, the Coke mirror with either Journey, Leonard Skinner, or Boss Skaggs graphics printed on it. And let me tell you, I am feeling waterlogged from all those Skaggs mirrors that are flying out. And it's all for a good cause. The Young Cryptozoology Fund, helping young wannabe cryptozoologists to bag their first Bigfoot. Now, as I was getting dunked left and right, and quite frankly feeling a little waterlogged and felt like I couldn't do it anymore, I saw a beacon of light, a fish light. Across the way, a game I hadn't noticed. Pin the tail on the Mars. Yep, the old classic pin the tail on the donkey, but this time it was the real Mick Mars. And since Mick is basically an alien and I am a cryptozoologist, I pin him right away. and won the prize of my dreams. A pet goldfish, which died immediately as someone dunked me back into my tank, having a hankering for that vase. Now, I suppose I should have not brought the goldfish into the tank with me, but I just loved it so much I didn't want to let it go until it let go of this mortal coil. So I went back, and another died. And another. I tell you, Mick Mars' butt must have looked like Vince Neil's face when I was done pinning him. 99 dead goldfish until the one that survived a dunk in the art for art. The one that I was able to bring home, and the one I named Mick's butt in honor of Mick Mars' peppered posterior. But as all carnival goldfish do, this one died a day later. And that one stings. And Art is in mourning. So, is there traffic? Well, maybe later when I hold a funeral for Mick's butt, I can tell you. Probably will be a bunch of backup on Linette Lane as everyone comes to pay their respects to Mick's butt. I'll be burying him on a Boss Skaggs Coke mirror because I know that was his favorite. Oh my God, it was. Rest in power, Mick's butt. Rest in power. And that's been traffic from the Bert's Funeral Flowers traffic desk. This is Art Spart on 108.9 The Hawk, and I should go buy some flowers.
With Bert's Funeral Flowers, with Bert's Funeral Flowers.
Oh my God, a moment of silence. Moment of silence.
Moment of 100 silences for all the goldfish. Jeez.
Oh, Jesus.
My God.
Here's Bitch by the Rolling Stones on 108.9 The Hawk.
Hello, it's Farmer Dan down at Shetland Creameries, where fall festival days are in full swing. Everything you love about autumn in one single festival at a creamery that's been running for over 40 years. That's Shetland Creameries. You've trusted us with your cheese and your milks and your nogs. And you've trusted us for years with your fall fun. We got it all. Hay bale rides, cider donuts, bunch of pumpkins, free parking in the grass, and someone will point to your spot for you when you come. Our cattle's running the cash registers, and the corn maze is bigger and better than ever, with a very overactive hellgate in the middle, making a lot of real creepy sounds. You knock it off, hellgate! Quit sucking all those college kids to hell! Don't worry about that. Head right on into that corn maze, college kids. At Fall Festival days. It's all happening at Shetland Creameries.
Yeah, no ho! James Hetfield's listen to
108.9 The Hawk.
If you're like me, you know that there's nothing classier than going to a restaurant where they will serve you fresh ground pepper on your food. Well, what if you could get your fresh ground pepper not from a pepper mill, but from a portal at your individual table? Well, you can at the Pepper Portal, located on the corner of Angus Way and Scrim Avenue. People know me as the Tall Man, boy. But I'm also the owner and proprietor of the Pepper Portal. I also control the alternate dimension that the portal gives you access to. This dimension is full of workers, made of reanimated corpses that I have harvested from your decimated world, boy. And these workers found the best ground pepper in the dimension and they bring it to you. Straight through two little metal poles on your table, right onto your Caesar salad. And you can have as much fresh ground pepper as you want, because I control the pepper. I control the reality, boy. Because here at the Pepper Portal, you never have to worry about not getting enough fresh ground pepper. You just have to worry about little silver balls that might gouge into your skull and drill a hole into your head. You think when you die, you go to heaven. You come to us at the Pepper Portal.
Guys, your bathroom is great. Did you know that? You have a good bathroom.
What, were you just in the bathroom, Joey?
Uh-huh.
Oh, commercial break. You got to use the break here.
I took a break too.
While Joey was taking a break, we were listening to Simple Man from Bad Company right here on 108.9 The Hawk. Welcome back to the Geoff and Whisp Show. I'm Wisp Turlington. That's Jeff the Angry Man Garlock. What'd you say?
I said, ew.
And that's Keg Stan. And, of course, we've got the great, great Joey Weatherman. He's playing the Valverde County Fair, not the State Fair. Don't get confused. They are two separate fairs right here in Valverde. And his band, Long Flyball. Now, where does that come from, Joey?
That name came before we decided to do the Outfield.
Oh. So were you just a band that did like baseball? So you were playing like Center Field by John Fogerty or what?
We did just baseball songs.
Just
we did Center Field by John Fogerty. We did Take Me Out to the Ball Game.
Oh, what a classic.
We did Let's Go Mets. We did Cotton Eye Joe.
Oh my God!
The seventh inning stretch wonder. Cotton Eye Joe.
Cotton Eye Joe. I've been one time go. Joe. Now, what made you decide to stop baseball songs and do the Outfield?
Well, we went to a John Fogerty cover band. Me and the guys. We go to a lot of cover band shows to get inspiration. And the
Juglin Corner, a great band.
It was Juglin Corner.
Did you go see Juglin Corner? Yeah, fantastic.
And they had an opening band that was another Creedence Clearwater Revival cover band called Willie and the Poor Boys.
Oh, really? They really just went for
CCR bands in a row, one opening for the other.
The crazy idea.
I would be like, where am I after hearing that for so long?
That's what it was like. I got confused.
True Detective Season 1 is about that. Time is a flat circle as you're watching CCR cover bands.
All of a sudden, I'm just in the middle of the Ted offensive. And it's just nothing but CCR just swirling around.
When
and
you
I don't
say
have
Ted
a gun.
offensive, you're not saying Tet. You're saying Ted, like a bunch of TED Talks are happening around you, like an assault.
They were in between, right? Ted offensive. They were just TED Talks about CCR.
Like, hi, I'm everyone. They got the headset mic. They're like, hi, I'm Ted offensive.
I'm Malcolm Gladwell, and welcome to my TED offensive.
It sounds like a bad idea, but I was having a great time.
Yeah, of course.
And in the middle of the main act, Juglin Corner, there was a wedding proposal in the audience, and the woman who was being proposed to's name was Josie. And so the band kind of improvised, Josie's on a vacation far away. And me and the other guys turned to each other, we're like, let's do that band.
And then you had to look up who that band is because you weren't positive.
We had to look up the rest of the words of the song. I'd never heard it all the way through.
Now, not to get you worked up here, but because it has to be brought up, and I am the angry man, I like getting people angry here, but were you concerned at first that it was actually a Bryan Adams cover band that you were starting? Because I always personally thought that song was a Bryan Adams song, and then all of a sudden I was like, the Outfield?
Wait a minute.
What the hell is
Bryan
this
Adams
song?
is not in the Outfield?
No, Bryan Adams is
I'm just learning this right now. You're saying that Bryan Adams is not the singer of the Outfield?
Bryan Adams is the singer of the band called Bryan Adams.
Oh.
And it does seem like because they're a British band, he would be in it because he did do the song for Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and we all know Kevin Costner's British accent was wonderful in that. So you must be doing the math that Bryan Adams is definitely British.
Thank you for that, Jeff. Is that what the breakdown? Perfect.
That's what I thought.
I listened to the first half of the song you love. I was like, that sounds like Bryan Adams. That makes sense because he was in a movie with a guy who did a perfect British accent, so therefore he must be British. Stop thinking, move on.
Stop thinking, move on is a great Talking Heads cover band, by the way. Love them.
Have you played with them here in Valverde at all?
Stop thinking, move on. The Talking Heads cover band.
Talking Heads cover band.
They won't talk to me.
Oh my God,
those guys are snobs. I hate to say,
bunch of jerks.
What a bunch
great
of
musicians,
pricks.
Great show. Go see them. Don't hang out with them after because they just tell you. They just tell you what books you should be reading.
Oh my God, who wants that?
Not me.
They wrote their own book. This is what music is, and it's like 7,000
I know,
pages.
which I hate that I love it. I've read that book cover to cover several times.
Sometimes
I guess this is what music is.
I just need to be told. I just need to be told what's music.
Sometimes
it's the infinite jest of music books.
Sometimes a good leader is what you want, and sometimes when somebody steps forward and says, "You're an idiot. Here's what you should think," it's easier just to give over to it.
Yep.
Anyway, I didn't know until this moment that Bryan Adams was not the man I am.
He's not.
But that's all right with me.
It's okay. Were you guys adding any Bryan Adams song into your set at any time? Did you do?
Back before we decided to do Your Love Only,
yes,
we had deep cuts by the Outfield and then medium cuts from Bryan Adams.
So you had Everything I Do, I Do It For You.
No, that's too obvious. We did Run to You.
Oh, Run to You. So
Cuts
good.
like a knife.
Oh my God, it does.
And then we would start to do Summer of 69 and then stop and go, screw off, audience, and then cut right into the deepest outfield cut that we had. We were not popular. For a while,
You were not.
We challenged the audience too much.
Yes.
Which is why, after that ABBA concert, we came around and now we're just, Josie's on a vacation far away. We do one version of Your Love where we change keys every verse. We go up a whole note.
It just keeps
it starts with,
going.
Josie's on a vacation far away. And then after one verse, Josie's on a vacation far away. And then it's, Josie's on a vacation far away.
Oh my
And
God.
That's my favorite version. Oh my
That's the one the only dogs can
That's
hear,
the
and they
very-
all
yeah.
come running
They
into the
freak
Valverde
out.
County Fair, and they're like, "What? Why are all these dogs here?" And then they just
There's a
start
lot of
Because,
dogs
I
in
gotta
County
say,
Fair.
when I go see a classic rock band and they're much older, I love when they all change the keys because they just were like, what were we thinking?
What were we thinking?
Like, and then the song you're expecting, you're like, I'm going to sing along. And then you're like, oh no, I can't sing along. I don't even know what the key is
Did
anymore.
you go see Sammy Hagar in the Best of All Worlds last week at the Verde Dome? Because those songs are keyed low. It's like, right now.
I went to
hey.
see it, and I paid for the meet and greet. I met the
What
Hagar
you
man.
shitting me? You
paid for the meet and greet.
They wouldn't
I
even
paid for
give
the
us
meet and
that.
greet.
So
was
what
great.
was that like?
He gave me a big old hug. He thought he got me confused. He thought I was a member of the band.
Of course.
He handed me some sticks. He goes, "We got to rehearse." And then I was in the band for a couple weeks after before I.
Wait, so he thought you were Jason Bonham, and he's like,
He
"Here's
thought I
your
was
sticks."
Jason Bonham. And I was
I
like,
can see
can't-
it.
I cannot play drums.
He carries around Jason's sticks and
He
determines
was
when
like,
Jason
"We got to
plays.
rehearse." At the meet
And
and greet, he
during
wanted
meet
to
and
rehearse.
greets, that's the crazy part. The guy never stops working. He's a workhorse.
He's a workaholic.
He's starting companies. He's got a new mountain bike company, and then he's like, "Let's also rehearse during the meet and greet." I can't
Hardest
believe
working
this
man
guy.
in show
So
business.
what was that like
Sammy
being
Hagar.
on stage for 2 weeks playing with Joe Satriani?
It was
Mike-
a humiliating experience
I
because
bet.
I don't play drums. I
Not
don't
at all.
really know the catalog. And so it was rough. I just kept doing Panama.
You just
And
depend.
he doesn't do that.
No,
So-
no.
And you tried playing the drum part from Hot for Teacher, and you actually got
You
that
did.
because in the real version, it sounds like he doesn't know how he's playing drums.
It's easy to
And-
fake
but then he's
Hot
like,
for
"I'm not
Teacher."
singing on that song. What are you doing, Jason Bonham?"
So-
and you're like, "Don't tell anyone."
And he was like, "Let's do best of both worlds." And I just would go into Hot for Teacher. He'd be like,
He'd be like,
and I'd be,
wait a second. I don't think that's Jason Bonham, guys. 2 weeks in, he's like,
After 2 weeks. Well, the other guys knew much earlier, but
They did.
Sammy
Oh,
wasn't
boy.
having it. Sammy's like, "Don't talk trash. His father died tragically."
oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That is kind. That is very kind.
Rest
I
in peace. Yeah,
eventually- I
it is.
eventually
I don't know if
confessed.
any of us have ever agreed that John Bonham died tragically. He definitely died.
He choked on his own
Let's just
vomit.
They
I
choked
mean,
on
that's-
his own vomit, Jeff. What do you expect? Is that not tragic?
You know, I don't want to say brought it out himself, but just hey, this is
Wow.
old news. This
What
is
a
old.
dick.
Look, hey,
What
hey,
a
hey.
dick.
We're here to talk about the outfield,
I didn't
aren't
realize
we?
it was
We're here to talk
What a
about
Dick
long flyball.
Tuesday on 108.9 The Hawk, but it must be.
I am the angry man. I do have some.
Oh my God. Okay, enough about Sammy Hagar. Enough about all of
Well,
this.
he's a nice guy. Once he realized his mistake, he still paid me for the 2 weeks, and we still correspond.
Oh my.
Oh, that's very
God.
nice. He's a great texter. That's
he's
what I've
so
always
good.
heard.
I guess I've heard that, but with me and him, it's handwritten letters.
Really?
Handwritten.
Because with me, he does text me, and I'll get like a mas one day,
Yeah.
and then the next day it'll just say tequila, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's your song. Okay.
Well, he's an upbeat fellow, and he's
Great.
not one to dwell.
So you're like in a John Adams,
Abigail Adams.
Thomas Jefferson
Oh, yeah,
situation.
John Adams, Thomas Jefferson. Yes,
I was gonna say Abigail Adams. Like you.
John and Abigail wrote a lot too.
They did. They corresponded. So
Hey,
that's
everybody's
really.
right. I mean, that guy loved a goddamn longhand letter. So
That movie on Disney Plus, Hamilton, it's basically just Hamilton writing letters the whole time.
but they're raps. They're rap letters.
Did Sammy Hagar ever write you a rap letter?
I mean, I can only guess
He's like-
because there's no music with the letters, but
Right.
some of them do seem to be written in verse form.
He's like, hey there, Joey. I'm here to say I'm Sammy Hagar in a really big way.
Yeah, a lot of the letters start that way.
I wonder then if Sammy was ever confused because he didn't realize you were talking about the outfield when you were talking about Josie
I bet.
in your letters because there's no music
like,
there.
"I
He's just
know,
reading the
Josie."
words.
Yeah, a lot of my letters just begin with the lyrics to Your Love. Dear Sammy, Josie's on a vacation far away. Come around and talk it over. So many things I want to say.
I mean, you gotta admit it's a great way to start a letter and a
I'm
correspondence.
just realizing now when I use a woman's name in the audience,
Right.
I'm casting her in the role of the woman that's being cheated on.
Yes.
I'm just realizing that now.
Oh, I'm sure they appreciate that.
It's just part of being in the show.
They know what they're
Joey.
getting it.
When I use the woman's name, she's the woman who's away, and it's somebody else that I'm telling to come over. I gotta work that in next time. I'm gonna pick 2 women. You're who's away, you're who's coming over.
Like, you may target a woman. Let's say her name is Sheila.
Let's not say target a woman.
Oh, well, I don't mean
You may say it. We wouldn't say that. You may say that.
You're like, hold on. Like, your bass player's like, all right, which woman is Joey going to target tonight?
Okay, again, I'm not going to use that.
Joey's going to target that woman right there.
Yeah, I don't target anybody.
Okay.
This is an inclusive show, and I get consent before I even use their name.
You make them sign a form before they walk in. Consent to use your name in your Love by the Outfield.
And then, you want to use hello sign or DocuSign, that's fine.
Do you give them a DocuSign in the middle where you're just like, hey, check your phone?
I sign up for a DocuSign account, and then I email them a PDF, and then they fill it out and send it back to me, and then I hit to the mic, and I'm like, Martha's on a vacation far away. Come around and talk it over.
Oh, my
That is
God.
actually, by the way, a great reminder that DocuSign is the sponsor of the Geoff and Whisp Show this morning. DocuSign. When you need to sign a 1099 once and you forgot that you needed to, and so you put it on your phone, and then it shows up 4 months later, taking up space.
When you need to sign a 1099, DocuSign is there. Thank you, DocuSign, for sponsoring this morning's show. My God, we have so many great sponsors, too. Jeff, we do have another sponsor.
You guys got a ton of sponsors.
You know what? I'm paying for this radio station myself. It's coming out of my pocket, so we're trying to get in as many sponsors as possible. Jeff, we do have another sponsor. Could you read it for us here?
Yeah, so I see here we've got the Geoff and Whisp Show is brought to you this morning by the Law Cousins. They're not brothers, not nephews, cousins. Not accounting, not nutrition, not sports medicine, the law. Put them both together and you get the Law Cousins. Yeah, they share one set of healthy grandparents and a healthy love for kicking ass at the law and deep inside the law. Call them today or visit them in the strip mall. You know, the weird one at corner of Hog Street and Nice Butts Boulevard. What? That's where their home office is. And by home office, we mean a building that functions as their office, but also as their home. So you know they're working their goddamn nuts off for you, okay? Is that finally good enough for you, Grandpa? The Law Cousins.
And we'd like to thank the Law Cousins for sponsoring the Geoff and Whisp Show. Over there, you said what after Nice Butts Boulevard, but you've been down there. You did a remote over by the Cotton Candy
It was a
factory.
what in that I was shocked because I've been there so many
you were
times.
like, I've never seen the Law Cousins there. Okay.
Never seen the Law Cousins. I did see these two just jerks there.
The Law Cousins.
They're wearing RNA sunglasses.
The Law Cousins.
And they've got Punisher skull with thin blue line. Oh, that's the Law Cousins.
Yes.
Oh,
the
man.
thinnest of blue
I should
lines
definitely
on their
hire
shirt.
them.
You know, Joey, if you ever need help after targeting the wrong women at a show,
again, that's not the phrase I would use.
You could call the Law Cousins, and they would help you because targeting women is one of their specialties.
Women in the audience are going to hire the Law Cousins after the way you've been talking.
I hope they do, because if there's one thing they do, they will work their goddamn nuts off for you.
The Law Cousins are on their way.
They're gonna work their little nuts off.
Exactly.
God,
see, I mean, now maybe you should be getting sponsored by the Law Cousins for your next show.
God.
Sued by a woman who thought you were targeting her. Go and call the Law Cousins tonight.
Hey, since we're talking it, let's hear the original. It's the Outfield. 108.9 The Hawk.
Yoga is one of the greatest ways to reach an inner peace and to deal with the constant noise of our modern existence, not to mention your own mind. But have you ever thought, oh, Stevie's teaching that class? I hate the bullshit that she says every time I take a class with her. Maybe stop working out issues you have with your father by teaching these yoga classes and just let me do my work here. And frankly, we get it. Here at Over It Yoga, the only yoga studio in Valverde that promises that our teachers aren't gonna just constantly be narrating some mindfulness bullshit at you. We've heard it all before. Be one with the universe and blah blah blah. Look, we all know that you have to work on being present and mindfulness, etc., blah blah blah. Sometimes you just want to do a workout. Sometimes you just want to stretch your body. And if I'm being frank, when you're telling me to be present, I'm not even sure I know what that means, and I don't think you do either.
Just tell me what pose I need to get into and let's just be done with it. And we are done with it here at Over It Yoga, where we know sometimes you just want to be able to tell other people that you worked out.
You can still get all your favorite back-to-school deals at Drugmore.
Back-to-school savings? When I drop dollars into the register, I trust the warm, inviting glow of Drugmore.
I go to Drugmore for all my back-to-school crap because my ex-wife shops at Valmart, and I'm not legally allowed within 200 yards of her. Plus, it's close to a Sharnies.
Drugmore is my favorite. They have all my favorite shopper keepers, including Sammy Hagar, David Lee Roth, and Wisp Turlington.
Drugmore has all my back-to-school favorites, like Halloween candy and high-dosage antihistamines. Thanks, Drugmore.
Drugmore, with locations all over the Verde Valley. Drugmore, check your bag. There's definitely loose pills you didn't order in there. Drugmore. Hey everybody, it's Big Truck with your 108.9 The Hawk concert calendar, brought to you by Computer Joe's. Yep. There's a new computer man in town, and he promises he will not become one with the machine. Tandy, Mac, Windows, you come on down, Joe's gonna fix it. On the 28th, you're gonna come down to Zazzers. Hell of a rock show going on. We got Jeff Tate from Queen's Rock, Warrant, and 2 bands claiming to be Rat. Hopefully they fight, and we figure out which one is the real one at the end of this show at Zazzers. At Shooter's Bar and Buffet on the 29th, co-headliners Buttweezer and Twist Dead Fantasy. And you know, anytime 2 bands co-headline, they're gonna treat the show like it's their own and say terrible things about the other band, so this is one you do not want to miss. Trust me, toot toot. They're about to say some real shit about each other. And finally, at Valmart Amphitheater on the 1st, we get the very first date of the Daylight Again 2024 tour with, of course, Stills, Nash, and Siwa. That's Stephen Stills, Graham Nash, and JoJo Siwa. Yep, no one else could replace David Crosby except for JoJo Siwa. And JoJo's definitely going to be wearing their Venom costume that they like to wear these days, so get ready for that. And here's hoping for at least one rendition of Love the One You're With. That's happening at Valmart Amphitheater. Hey, and that's it for the 108.9 The Hawk concert calendar, brought to you by Computer Joe's. I'm Big Truck. Toot toot to you. Yeah, baby, that's what we call a double shot. Of course, you heard Your Love, and then you heard the first track off of Play Deep, Say It Isn't So, on 108.9 The Hawk, the Geoff and Whisp Show. And if there's one man that knows a lot about the Outfield, or at least about one song from the Outfield, it's Joey Weatherman, lead singer and woman targeter for the band Long Flyball.
And maybe even worse, just realized Bryan Adams is not the singer.
I do not know who the lead singer of the Outfield is, but whoever he is, he's got a heck of a set of pipes.
Heck of a set.
And so do you.
Pipes. And so do you, Joey Weatherman.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I would ask you.
I should point out, by the way, I'm not the singer.
What?
Really?
When did this change?
I don't sing in the band. I do sing the songs, but I'm unmiked.
Is that your twin brother who's been singing in that band?
I got twin brother. My God. Tommy Weatherman.
Wait, okay.
Tommy Weatherman.
Scotty, these notes are completely wrong. Then what do you play in the band?
Backup bass.
Backup bass. You know, I was wondering why I felt like I did see you on stage, but never have seen you on stage, and this is very confusing. Wow.
I play bass right in sync with the main bass player, and I don't vary a note.
Just in case his amp goes out, you're there,
or the chord slips.
Slips happen,
and if we're both there, that bass is nice and thick. When you're listening to an Outfield song, you want that bass ropey.
You
want that bass.
I don't want to lose your bass tonight. It should be like a doom song. It should be like a stoner rock song.
I want the bass so thick that when you're listening, all you picture is a nice garden filled with peat moss.
Oh my
God.
I'm picturing it right now.
Wait, hold on. What do I usually think with thick bass? Peat moss. It's right there. Oh my God. No wonder you guys are the best in the biz.
We're the best. We're number one. Long Flyball. 2 basses, 1 singer.
2 basses, 1 singer.
Backup bass player is also singing along, but he is unmiked.
And you're the one that's targeting women. So when you're pointing at a woman,
again,
does Tommy Weatherman see the woman that you're pointing at? You're going, her.
Or do you share like a twin bond?
Is there a twin bond?
It's just, you're like the Wonder Twins.
It's just
like I'll be a panther. I'll be a bucket of water and target that women.
I just go to the audience, say, "What's your name, Martha?" I get her to fill out the NDA release form, and then I just say, "Her name's Martha," and we do it. Martha's on a vacation.
Do you take a mic into the crowd like you're doing, like it's at a Kevin Smith speaking event?
I go, yeah, what are you doing here, folks? What do you do for a living?
Like, oh, hey.
What'd you major for in college? That was worth a lot of money, I bet.
Tommy, her name's Martha. Her name's Martha, Tommy.
Take it away, Tommy.
No wonder there are so many clips of you on TikTok, because the crowd work is just the thing that the kids want to be watching.
Crowd work is what people come to see.
Man, there are so many of you targeting women on TikTok.
Doing friendly, consensual crowd work with women.
I'm looking at a TikTok right now, says Tommy targets again, and it is a woman named Teresa.
Yeah,
and
I don't know
just
who's
like,
posted those.
I don't want to. You're like, you're going to.
I gotta say, you forgot to turn the comments off on this one. So Logan Paul is like just saying, "Way to go," and it's like, I don't know if that's what you want backing you up.
We don't endorse Logan Paul. And Teresa, I didn't say you're gonna do it. I just said you'll regret it if you don't. And I just
that's all you said.
It's going to be a fun experience. You're going to want to enjoy this.
Do you
words are important?
You'll regret it.
That's what I just saw. And it's hilarious. It's so much fun. They slow down the "you'll regret it," so it's like
4 billion views. I mean, this is just fantastic.
So many.
Speaking of regrets, before we go, Joey Weatherman, do you have any?
Why are we going?
We got to go. We got to get into the next break.
What? Where are we going next?
Skeet Ulrich is coming on in the next hour. He's got his own outfield cover band
called "Say It Is So."
Say It Is So.
And Skeet's going to come in.
I love that band. Skeet's great.
Skeet's coming in. He's got they do not have a backup bass player, but they do have Matthew Lillard on drums and bells. He does that thing where he's playing drums with one stick and then the bells are in the other hand.
That sounds like a scream.
Do you know what
Oh.
Joey's on a pun run, fire away.
Do it. Let Tommy say your name. Does that sound familiar? Let him say your fucking name.
I don't use the F word because we want to be family friendly.
Well,
but I'll say your friggin' name.
You do often sound like Buffalo Bob.
But it's a mix.
Sounds of the Lamb.
It's a mix of Christian Bale.
No, Buffalo Bob, his brother.
Bob.
He's in the background, just like you're at the bass.
Buffalo Bob is right behind Buffalo Bill.
Yeah.
The real villain of Silence.
And a little mix of
course,
Christian
played by the late, great Dabney Coleman, Buffalo Bob. Just love him.
Oh, my God. Well, go out this weekend. You're going to see Long Flyball out at the Val Verde County Fair. It's going to be good. And you know what? When you're sitting there and you're a woman and you see a man coming into the crowd, you know,
I mean,
you might want to think to yourself.
Nothing to fear is what I would say. Nothing to fear.
Maybe something to fear. If you see old Joey Weatherman coming your way and you are a gentle woman and you're just like, you have to decide, should I stay or should I go? That's how we do it in radio, baby. It is The Clash from the Combat Rock album on 108.9 The Hawk. Coming up, Skeet Ulrich talking the outfield. On 108.9 The Hawk. Well, Hines, welcome to 108.9 The Hawk again.
I'm back, baby.
Thank
you for coming back, baby.
Thank you so much for coming back. Now, I have to ask.
Sure.
You selected someone from the outfield. Do you have a personal... Do you like the outfield?
I do like the outfield.
Yeah, they're good, right?
I had that album when it came out. I thought it was great.
Okay.
It sounded like The Police, but it wasn't The Police. I was on board.
It's Light Police.
Yeah.
It's Light Police.
Is it worth listening to the rest of the record? I'm not sure I've ever listened to the entire outfield record.
It's not. I mean, it's fine, but no, you don't.
Yeah.
Say It Isn't So is a good song.
It's a good song. That was like a lighter hit for them, right? Or
yeah, and then they have
All the Love in the World,
gone, which
Since
You've Been Gone is all right.
Let's hear Since You've Been Gone.
It's sort of like it's very just 80s.
I mean, truth in comedy. That's a phrase I've trademarked, but I did think it was Ryan Adams for most of my life.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
And then I was like, who the fuck's the outfield? It was like not so long ago in the grand scheme of life that I realized.
So I liked that album. And then I remember there was an article in Rolling Stone, like in 1988 or something, that was talking about how some bands, money trouble that bands run into. Mm-hmm. And they were like, everybody spends all their money. They hit it big and they just go nuts. They're in debt to the record label for the rest of their lives. So they never make they never see any money. but that the Outfield weirdly had been very savvy and off of just one hit had like all bought houses and were like retired.
That's my favorite.
They were like,
when I hear that
get
stuff.
Get it now. We're not going to have another hit.
Somehow they like didn't spend it. They were conservative and they bought these modest little homes in England or something.
I love that so
much. That weirdly stuck in my head as it made me like them better that they were sensible people.
A friend of mine is
They're not immediately going, I'm going to live forever.
You know, I think it was like 1991 because I think it was about how MC Hammer was broke or something. And I was like, how is MC Hammer in 1991 broke? And they were like, the Outfield is, you know, they're still doing it.
That's unbelievable.
Because that's where that great Mr. Show sketch came from, where they were doing the Josh Fenderman. And he has that line of like, nobody gives you instructions with money. Because that's something I think MC Hammer said on the Behind the Music.
I get a lot.
It's like, no one tells you don't give it away to your friends.
Right. I watch TikTok a lot, and I get so many Corey Feldman TikToks where he's on tour right now with Limp Bizkit. And he still does the dressed up like Michael Jackson, the hat, the dance.
Oh, yeah.
Just like that Mr. Show sketch.
Yeah.
Which is so long ago. That's like 94.
And now he's got a Buckethead style guitar with the cutoff switch that he doesn't know how to use.
He has no idea, which somebody just discovered. There is a TikTok that's going around with him soloing, and someone is soloing him for him backstage.
Oh,
it's
wow.
not even him soloing.
It's fantastic.
That's rough.
I love it.
So
I love it.
Oh my God.
I just can't believe he's alive. It's really,
it's
really a
I am
miracle.
happy that Corey Feldman's alive. And,
Me too. I don't need more
same.
sadness.
I am happy he's alive.
I'd rather him be alive and cringe than dead and sad.
100%.
Will, you were on here before as a Beatles aficionado, a Beatles host.
That's right.
I have to say this, but not playing the game that you and I have played in our friendship for maybe 15 some odd years.
This album is better than the Beatles?
No. This one is, and I truly am like, have I talked about this too much? And I try to hold it back with my child, my 7-year-old child. But there is a concert in Eagle Rock coming up in near where I am, and we got invited to it, and my wife turned it down possibly
Ringo's
because
All-Star
it
Band,
is
right? It
is a Beatles cover band, and immediately my son, 7 years old, went, ugh, I don't like the Beatles at all. Anything they do is bad. And I feel so bad because I've tried to say nothing, and I don't even know where this came from.
No.
Where did that come from?
You have to also add in the fact that you sent him to a Beatles camp.
Oh, right. I sent him to a Beatles summer camp.
Made it worse.
And he complained about it. He did not like it because they made him play the 2 songs everyone
Yellow
has heard.
Submarine and
I think Hey Jude they did a cover of. But I was like, I thought of poor Will when he said that. I'm like, buddy, they're okay. They're okay. Like, I didn't explain to him how I love wigs. My wife doesn't like this development either. So,
That's insane. I don't think he's always going to have a deep-seated hatred for the Beatles.
I'm sorry.
Because I think that if you don't like them from the first moment you hear them, I don't think they're a band that's going to grow on you.
Interesting. They just seem so pleasing. I just can't imagine having contempt for the Beatles. You know, it's like being bored by them, not having them be your thing, but to be like, I hate Ticket to Ride. I'm like, wow.
I mean, even I was like, buddy, I can make you a playlist. There are good Beatles songs.
What are good Beatles
we just
songs
don't
to
listen
you,
to them.
Jeff?
Oh, I would have to actually listen and decide.
But you could sit here and tell me 5 Wings songs that you love easily.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
Why?
Wings is great. I love Wings.
Wings is that one hand clapping that just came out is brilliant. I don't know if you guys.
I love it. I think
you both have known me for a long time, and Will's known me even longer, and I've always been a difficult human being. So
I mean, you're stubborn. You're stubborn with your opinions, and you seem to naturally gravitate to having passionate opinions about things that nobody is thinking about.
Yes, which has worked great for my career. It worked great for being a sketch teacher. It worked great for my writing. It always just works great for this podcast, where we had you on as you bringing that energy with the lead singer of an Outfield cover band.
I'm glad to have
been
a character who will alienate whatever few listeners you've accumulated. Will never be back after they hear me make jokes about a band they've truly never heard of.
But you have a podcast called Screw It. We're going to just talk about the Beatles. And
that's right.
It's
a
fantastic podcast.
Oh,
and
thank you.
I used to do a radio show every Saturday on a classic rock station called The Beatles Brunch. It was our version of it. Someone at the station was like, just call it that. Even though there's another show, nobody gives a shit. It's Southwest Virginia. I've grown up a huge Beatles fan. I wanted to ask you, a Beatles fan, what did you think of Now and Then?
Pretty boring, but I was happy that everybody was talking about the Beatles. And truly, footage of Paul harmonizing with recordings of John was kind of sweet.
Yeah.
And the name Now and Then with Paul doing it now and John's voice then was kind of a nice, sweet idea. And then the CGI music video made me be like, maybe Jeff's right.
So many people hated that video, and I was like, you could have just done archival footage, and I think it would have touched a nerve a little bit better on people. Just like, this is.
Oh, the archival footage was great. If they just had old footage of the Beatles, people would have gone nuts.
Yes, they would have gone nuts. I
thought it was boring, but really, if John was alive and they could have reworked it, it could have been a great song. The melody's good.
Yeah.
All of his demos were always mid-tempo and sad, and then the Beatles would come up with a better arrangement that would like make it an incredible song.
Yeah.
But they obviously can't do that since he had the nerve to be murdered.
Yeah, well, I mean, come on, John.
And George had the audacity to die.
Oh.
But if all four were alive and they wanted to take that as a starting point, I think that could have been an incredible song.
If all four were alive, what would they be doing right now? Would they be playing
they would have
songs
gotten back together?
They would have gotten back together?
100% sure.
Yeah.
If John was not murdered, here's my theory. When Live Aid came around, which was like
85,
5 years after John's murder, and all those bands were reuniting, and Led Zeppelin was being picked to be the closer, and it was for a charity.
Right.
And they would have come to, in a competitive reason, they would have, no pun intended, come together to be the big surprise ending at Wembley and would have just like blown it out of the water. That's what and then they would have, I don't know if they ever would have been able to write and record songs, but they would have toured, I think, and had a blast.
I think they probably would have written and recorded songs. I think they
might have done that too. They might have done that too.
Here's a question.
Okay.
No, not knowing. I truly am asking this and not asking to be kind of like a jerk here. But like if John had stayed alive, because in my mind, he's like one of the more liberal members of the Beatles.
Right.
Like, would he have gone the way of Eric Clapton-y, Van Morrison?
I think he would have.
Yes. Just because he feels like my first main therapist, who was like clearly a liberal in his 70s, like, and when he was, or it went in the 70s and 80s, and then became just like an Upper East Side New York person who's like complaining about things.
John was liberal, but more than liberal, he liked being outspoken. So as soon as like, he liked being a jerk, you know what I mean? So like he probably would have been pro-Trump in some crazy. Actually, you know what I think he would have been? I actually don't think he'd be pro-Trump. I think that's a bridge too far.
Jill
but
Stein.
He'd be like a Bernie bro in some obnoxious way, or he'd be like, he'd be into Reagan or something, or he would have voted for Brexit, some kind of old man out of touch, but used to being able to say whatever
he would have had a
wants.
lot of thoughts about cancel culture.
Oh, 100%.
He would have hated that. He would have been canceled every 10 seconds.
He would have had a song about cancel culture. But I can't
imagine him ever being anti-gay or
no,
or anti-immigrant, because he released a version of he did a live version of Imagine in 1975 where he spoke against anti-immigration.
Mm-hmm.
Like he said, no immigration, meaning like just no getting mad at it. So I don't know. I do think he was. I mean, this is more detail than you guys want.
No,
I think he would have. I think he would have been an obnoxious Twitter thread that everybody liberal would have hated him. But push came to shove, he might have been like anti-vaccine or something. But I don't think he ever truly would have been like a jerk, who was I'm on Johnny Depp's side or something like that. I don't think he would be like that. I don't think.
I just often think about who would be insufferable on Twitter. Like
he would have. I've
said
like
Hunter S. Thompson would have been a nightmare.
Oh God. Yeah.
And like Guy Debord from the Situationist movement, I was joking that they would be like the worst. Like I'd be like, like these people that I respected at one point. I
don't think John would be as disturbing as Kanye, for example, but he definitely would be like, he definitely would piss off the younger generation, and
he's got
have
some
no
okay ideas.
Yeah,
yeah, I think so.
I love it. I mean, we're just having an honest, fair discussion about John Lennon on Twitter.
Yeah, I think he would have tweeted so much. He would have been tweeting drawings So if like
From
something
naked
happened,
in bed.
Yeah, naked in bed. If something happened in the news, he would do a quick
I think it would have been very interesting to see John live long enough that he lost some clout. You know, I think it would have been really fun to see him. Because in the 70s, he was still such a god.
Right.
Like he could do whatever. He released albums that he wrote in a week and recorded in a week, and they're okay.
Yeah.
You know, or he and Yoko would do some obnoxious press conference and do some joke, and there'd be like 50 reporters. It would have been really fun to see him make it to like the 2010s when, of course, he's permanent royalty, but where he is more like a Clapton, where he's not automatically front page headlines and there's people challenging him. And I think he would have thrived. I think he would have thrived like that.
I'm also just picturing a world where like Yoko is like Cheryl Hines to RFK Jr.
Yeah, right,
just be like, I love him. I don't know. Yeah. He's got some things.
Yeah, John Lennon's on a boat with Zachary Levi. He's like, oh, I love Zachary Levi.
I think he would have thrived when the fame diminished a little bit. I think he was truly a smart and interesting person. And so when like there weren't just a million people around him saying you're great, I actually think he would have gotten more interesting.
And he would have written a lot of great songs for Ringo. You know?
Yeah, I think he would. I mean, the guy knew his way around a melody.
He really did. He really did.
I think he would have had more good music, you know.
I love it. I love talking Beatles. You can check out Will's podcast, Screw It. We're just going to talk about the Beatles.
Yeah.
And any other podcasts you want to, you do so much, Will.
I do a million projects. Yes. I have one called Screw It. We're just going to talk about comics that me and my brother Kevin, who Jeff is friends with, we talk about comic books.
I'm also friends with him.
Oh, okay, you're also friends with Kevin? Great. 2 Kevin friends.
Yes.
So we have a small but passionate following for that podcast. Amazing. We really get into the niche stuff, and I think we're good. So I guess, you know, if you like if you're an old middle-aged man, you like the Beatles, listen to my Beatles podcast, and if you're a slightly younger middle-aged man and you like comic books, listen to that one.
What are you guys covering right now on the show?
There's a series called The Human Target.
Okay.
Which just had several incarnations.
Yeah.
Recently there was one by Tom King that's really, and Greg Smallwood, that's terrific. But we weirdly are doing a perhaps lesser known, but a really terrific run that happened from Vertigo Comics in the early 2000s. That was a remarkable series, and we're digging into it. Human Target.
Amazing. Kevin was always one of those guys I would stop at like The Beast and just talk comic books after a show
he's
for hours.
Truly smart about them.
Yes.
He's got an encyclopedic knowledge and really good taste, and I love talking to him about it. And pretty varied taste. He's not like a I only like what I liked when I'm 13. Like he reads a huge variety of stuff, and he's interesting to talk about with it.
Amazing.
Well, I'll let you know too. One more thing with my kid, you might appreciate that he knows a fair amount about the Legion of Substitute Heroes.
Love the Legion of Substitute Heroes.
And various ones like we talk about Matter Eater Lad. Surprising
amount.
You just mean the Legion of Superheroes.
He was in Legion of Substitute briefly.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Just like Bouncing Boy was. But then they were like, no, Color Lad has to stay in here. and like Stone Boy.
Oh my
so
God.
Funny.
Will, thank you so much for being on the show. We love having you on. Got to have you back
pleasure.
anytime. Thank you again.
Yeah, buddy.
Hey, y'all, it's Big Truck. I just wanted to take a second to thank you for listening to 108.9 The Hawk. Yeah, toot toot, you can get this show anywhere you get the podcast, so like and subscribe, as they say on videos on the internets. And also tell all your friends. You know, chances are good if you're listening to this, you got friends that are going to love 108.9 The Hawk as well. And if you want to support the show and get shows 1 week early and video versions of the shows and other great goodness and hang out with other Hawk people like you got to head on over to that Patreon. Patreon.com/1089 The Hawk. That's how you support the show, and you get some extra stuff for it. We'll be back with another 108.9 The Hawk next week. Keep up with everything Hawk at 1089thehawk.com. And I'll see you on the road. Toot toot.